Welcome everybody to the SSG review episode 2, where we go over everything that has happened in the Elite League over the weekend. We've got quite the episode today, so we're not going to waste any time. We're just going to go straight into it with the biggest news of today. The Sheffield Steelers have signed Mitchell Hurd. We all saw this coming. We all knew that if it wasn't Belfast, it would be either Sheffield, Nottingham or Cardiff. And Mitchell Hurd chose Sheffield, and here we are. There are mixed opinions on this signing. There's a few people who say we don't want him. We don't need him. He takes so many penalty minutes, so we shouldn't have him. And I can understand why you're coming from that point. But in my personal opinion, I think this is a signing we need. You know, he's a big centre. He's a point-per-game player last season. He plays really well when he's not selfish, of course. And I think he's a player who is either going to bolster our squad or he's a player who is going to weaken our squad. For now, I'm going to go with the fact that he's probably going to end up upgrading our squad and making us a tougher team to play. So, yeah, Steelers signed Mitchell Hurd. Everybody saw it coming. Steel Dogs did play a trick last week where they said they had signed Mitchell Hurd. But I think they were just playing along knowing that Mitchell Hurd was coming to the Sheffield Steelers. So they were just playing along with us to trick us from the subject. Let's go through your Steelers guy. And this is a brand new thing I'm going to start doing on the SSG review. Your Sheffield Steelers guy, Player of the Week. Now, this was a very hard choice because there are so many players over the weekend who have played really, really well. This is not biased at all. I have looked through every single individual's performance over the weekend that's just gone. And I have given the Player of the Week to Cliff Pooh of the Sheffield Steelers with his 3-goal game in Coventry, scoring a hat-trick in the first period. So Cliff Pooh is your Steelers guy, Player of the Week. Let's go on to the Five Flyers, who have released a statement after obviously they really didn't have a good weekend. They got beaten 7-2 by Guildford and then they got beat 6-0 by the Belfast Giants. I get where Fife are coming from. You know, you want to have this whole rebuild and you want to look different. But rebuilding a team from a really bad year the year before, it's not just going to get better. And I'm sorry to say this, Fife, but as of now, this is Fife. This is what Fife is like at the moment. Pure shite. And somehow you find a way to beat the Steelers at least once per season. But I don't like saying this, but it's just Fife. It's just how Fife have been playing. They've had some good results this year, not get me wrong. But for the most part, it's pretty much nearly been the same Five Flyers as last year. I do hope they find their speed soon. I'm really glad that they're still in the Elite League. But it's moments like these where you start to think, should Fife have stayed in the league or not? Nottingham had a mixed weekend, beating Sheffield 4-2 before losing in overtime in Nottingham to the Cardiff Devils. A playoff final rematch, and this time Cardiff took the win back to Cardiff. Now, let's just talk about the Coventry Blades. I've wanted to say this for a while now, but having obviously watched the Steelers and Coventry last weekend, well, they really weren't good, were they? You know, they went to Cardiff, lost 3-0, came home to play Sheffield, lost 5-1. Altogether, that is 8-1. 8-1. 8 goals conceded, 1 scored over 2 games over the weekend. And what I noticed about the Coventry Blaze over that weekend was when the Steelers were coming in attack in Coventry, the Blaze left us wide open. Cliff Pooh had so much space on nearly all of his goals. First goal, he outran the Blaze. Second goal, it was a 2-on-0 or a 2-on-1. The third goal, the Blaze defenders just completely left the zone, and Blaze fans are going, "Oh, we're obviously focusing on Sourceman too much." And to be honest, I agree with you. When Sourceman came back to Sheffield at the end of September, in that loss to Coventry, I noticed, and me and my cousin, we noticed this. Sourceman was nearly on every single shift. I get it, he's a good defender, but you don't need to overplay him, which is what you're doing. You're playing him for most of the game. I think for every single Sourceman went off and a new Blaze line came on. Then that Blaze line came off and then Sourceman came back on. Do the Blaze feel like they've got no other better defenders than Sourceman? Don't get me wrong, I think he's a great defender for Coventry. He suits into him. But you don't need to rely on Robson and Sourceman, and they make Robson look like a wall. He wasn't a wall. He's not a wall. He's not going to be the Robson you know and love every single game. I'm sorry to say this, but I think you're going to lose to us again on Saturday. I think Mitchell Hurd will get a point on Saturday. It's a shame he's not playing tomorrow in Glasgow, which gets me on to the final bit of the SSG review. Tomorrow, the Sheffield Steelers head to Glasgow for their third league game of the season. I'm hoping for a win. I hope we take the confidence from the Coventry game into Glasgow, batter the clan. I'm sure Mitchell Hurd will be watching from the stands. Belfast and Brynus is going on in the Champions League at the minute. Come on, Brynus. To be honest though, Belfast, why did you undo our work?